Citroen entered the Indian market with their flagship SUV, the C5 Aircross, and they had promised to roll out a new model every year. And we are looking at that new model for the 2022. Hello and welcome to DriveSpark. This is Bharadwaj and that is the Citroen C3. We are driving this today, and will it offer the same comfortable ride that the C5 offers for a lot lesser money? We will find out in this video. Starting off, before we head to the funky design that the C3 offers, let me tell you a little bit about the variants and the color options. The new Citroen C3 will be offered in two variants according to Citroen, and it will come with two engine options, both mated to the manual gearbox. As of now, Citroen has not announced the automatic gearbox, but we can be sure that it will be offered at a later date. Speaking of the color options, this is offered in 4 monotone color options with 2 choice of dual tone roofs. On this card you see is the orange roof, and other option is the grey color that you can choose on any of these colors. So this makes it 10 color combinations that the Citroen buyer can choose with the C3. Now moving on to its funky design, the new Citroen C3 offers a very modern touch in terms of appeal. From the front, you can see that there is a large chevron logo finished in chrome, and it runs throughout the length of the car and merges with the LED DRLs. And also the bottom of the chevron logo merges with the headlamps and also a small DRL that is integrated inside the headlamp cluster, making this an X shape if you can see from the front. Now with that, we move on to the bottom part of the front fascia, where you can see a lot of plastics in the black, and you can see an upper grille that is of a honeycomb mesh, and also you can see a lower grille, and after that you can see a silver scuff plate. However, the most attractive thing from the front are these color coordinated accents that come in terms of fog lamp housing. Now these color coordinated accents all over the car is ordered from the factory and is not a dealer fitment, because these are offered via packs. Yes, the customer gets to choose from 4 different packs to customize their car, and Citroen is offering over 50 customization options and over 70 accessories for this car, out of which you will be reaching out to your pocket to choose some of the accessories. Why am I telling this? Let me tell you later in the video. Now going back to the design, finishing on the front fascia are these muscular looking hood, which gives this an SUV stance. However, Citroen is calling the C3 a premium hatchback. Now if you move to the side profile of the Citroen C3, this is most evident, as you can see that SUV stance because of the large body cladding and the air pocket design. That's a signature trait of the Citroen, and also you can see the strong C-pillar that is there on this car, which gives it that SUV stance, and that is why we would like to call this an entry-level compact SUV that will rival the likes of Tata Punch and also the Maruti Suzuki Ignis. Now moving on to the rest of the elements from the side profile, you can notice the roof rails that are finished in black, and also you get to see one of the most retro looking door handles that was a thing in 90s, that is the flip up door handles Citroen. That is the flip up door handles on the Citroen C3. Now why has Citroen done this and not move on to the chunky door handles that we are so used to seeing in cars of today is something that Citroen will have to answer. Is something that we feel that the cost has taken into consideration. Now to top of the side profile, you get 15-inch alloy wheels. It looks a tad bit small for the profile and also for the chunky body cladding around it. We would have liked to see a 16-inch wheels. However, these are just steel wheels and not alloy wheels. Citroen has done a good job in hiding those steel wheels by giving it a funky wheel cover. Also, you can see from the side profile that the ORVMs are also color coordinated, which is from the pack that you choose from the factory itself. Now this is the side profile. Let us move on to the rear profile and see how it's designed. When you see the Citroen C3 at the back, you get the same feeling of funky design that has been carried out at the rear as well, starting with the C-shaped LED tail lamps that looks very attractive and also gives this boot a very good profile to follow as well. And other things that you notice at the back are missing rear washer and wipe, and you also get a color coordinated roof integrated spoiler. You get a very small Citroen logo, and also you get a C3 badging, and you get the PureTech badging that's related to the powertrain of this car. Now to give the C3 a chunky and a muscular look, what Citroen has done is blacked out the rear bumpers, also with color coordinated accents that you can choose, and it certainly looks funky and also bold as well from the rear. Now finally moving on to the boot can be accessed only via the request sensor here present on the boot lid. There are no latch or a button that you press from the inside to release the boot, so you will have to unlock the key fob and then use the request sensor here to unlock the boot lid. Now boot lid is pretty light and it opens up to 315 liters of boot space here. It can take in a lot of bags for 4 people, for 5 people over 2 or 3 days journey, and a medium-sized suitcase can definitely fit in this boot lip. However, there are certain niggles that I would like to point out. The boot lip is a little too high for my liking, and also because of this funky design of the boot lid, it has eaten up into the space of the opening of this boot entry. Also, if you are trying to increase the boot space by folding the rear seat down, there are no split seat on offer on the C3. You will have to fold it completely down and not take any passengers on the second row. So this is about the boot space of the new Citroen C3. Now we get inside and look at the features that are on offer on this C3. Stepping inside the new Citroen C3, you will immediately notice the color coordinated actions that have been carried out from outside to inside, and you can see that there is a triple tone dashboard available in the new Citroen C3. The majority of the dashboard is covered in this orange color. However, it is not the same orange that is available on the exterior color. This is more subtle, this is more matte finish and is easy on the eyes. And next, the dashboard also houses a silver trim that will act as a storage space if you want to store your smartphone. And also there is a dedicated smartphone holder here which you can fix it and then place your smartphone as well. Along with this, other funky items that you can find on the interior are these square shaped AC vents. The ones on the center are horizontally placed, however the ones on the sides are vertically placed, and is a little bit tricky to control the air direction for the passengers. Now moving on to the feature that takes the center stage in this interior is this horizontally mounted 10-inch infotainment system. So this is a 10-inch TFT display that offers Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and also uses your phone to map the Google Assistant, which you can activate via using this button on the steering wheel. Now with that, you will also have navigation through Android Auto, and there is no onboard navigation available on this infotainment system. Stepping to the rear seats of the new Citroen C3, despite the doors being relatively small, you can inside the car very easily and also step outside the car very easily. So now that you have sat inside the car, you can notice certain things that is there on this car in terms of space. Also, the seat is as far back as possible. I still enjoy a relatively good knee room and also a decent leg room because the seats are placed a little high up. And with that, speaking about the seats, neither the front seat nor the rear seat comes with adjustable headrests. All the headrests on this car are fixed, and also the center passenger on the rear seat does not get that as well. Also, few other things that are missing out are the rear center armrest and the rear AC vent console here. However, Citroen tells us that the AC vents on the front is quite potent and enough to throw in the cold air for the rear passengers. And there are some ergonomical issues that I had mentioned while talking earlier in the video. For example, if the rear seat passengers have to roll down their window, they will have to bend down and reach out to the center console and do it. However, that comes with a one-touch button so that it will roll down the window with one operation itself. With that, speaking about storage spaces for the rear passengers, you get a cubby hole in the center, and you get half a liter door pocket, and you get a magazine holder here. And with that, if you plan to charge your devices, you can use 2 USB slots that are provided at the rear console and place your devices on either of these seats. Now, speaking about long journeys, I would see this seat more of a 4-seater than a 5-seater, because a third passenger sitting here would certainly not enjoy the less of under thigh support that is there on the seat, and the transmission tunnel that is jutting out quite a bit. However, for 4 passengers, this is quite comfortable. And one thing that I want to mention in terms of long journeys is that the rear seat is not reclined a little bit, and it is upright. The rear seat backrest is positioned a little bit upwards, and you sit upwards. And if you have to rest your back completely, you will have to slide and then relax yourself like this. And in case if there is a tall passenger at the front, you will certainly feel your knees touching the seat. So this is it in terms of interiors and features. Yes, you can see a lot of cost cuttings throughout the interiors of the C3. However, we expect Citroen to price this particular Citroen C3 very aggressively. Now, what are my price expectations for this particular car? You will have to watch it at the end of this video. Now it's time to drive. we are now in the driving seat of the Citroen C3 and let's get started with how the car is to drive. Now, before that, let me run down some specs for you. The car is available with two engine options. That's the 1.2 litre and the 1.2 litre turbo petrol engine. Both are petrol units. There is no diesel engine on offer, and both engines are currently offered with manual gearboxes. The NA gets a 5-speed and the turbo petrol gets a 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, speaking about the power specs, the NA produces 82 PS and 115 Newton meters of torque, and the turbo petrol engine produces 110 PS and 190 Newton meters of torque. Now, these figures are very healthy for a small car. And speaking of which, let me talk about how this car is to drive, how the engine performs. Both are 3-cylinder units, so you get the standard clatter that comes with the 3-cylinder units. That is evident at higher revs. However, the engine itself is very tractable, especially the NA. I feel it's very tractable, and you can go from low speeds to high speeds on higher gears. However, at times you will feel that there is a little lack of power when it comes to steep climbs, and you will have to drop down a gear and also have to rev a little bit hard to get the car moving. Now, coming to the turbo petrol engine, it is quite contrast. The turbo petrol do not have any lag. The power delivery is immediate, and you can definitely have a lot of fun in that engine. So the turbo petrol engine comes mated with the 6-speed gearbox, which is similar to the 5-speed gearbox that is there on the NA. However, both the gearboxes are pretty slick. They do shift well, but the 6-speed gearbox on the turbo petrol engine has dog-legged reverse gear. Sometimes you may find it hard to slot into that reverse gear on that 6-speed gearbox. Otherwise, both the engines and both the gearboxes are very well suited to any conditions, be it the city or highways. You can definitely have a lot of fun. Now, coming to the aspect of fun, both these engines are rated to deliver over 19 kilometers per litre. That is what claimed by Citroen. Now, this is a very short test drive and we couldn't get much time to test out that mileage figure. However, once we do a full road test review, we will report back with real-time figures that we have got in that test. But you can be sure to get a real-time mileage figure of around 15 to 16 km per litre. Next, let's move on to the suspension setup on the new Citroen C3. C5 Aircross was known for one of the most comfortable rides in the Indian market. Has Citroen managed to pull off the same trick in the C3? In one word, yes. The Citroen C3 rides very well on this suspension. Again, the brand has managed to give it a very supple ride. This is evidently spelled at mid speeds somewhere between 60 to 70. However, if you cross a little bit above 100, because of the soft suspension setup, you will definitely feel that little bit unnerving sometimes to cross that speeds because of a soft suspension and a floaty body. Also, with the soft suspension, there comes a factor of body roll. Yes, the C3 has a bit of body roll. This being an SUV stance, the body roll is felt much around the corners, especially for the rear passengers. However, it is not a deal breaker as such, because at times you will be enjoying that magic carpet ride, and only in aggressive corners you will feel that body roll. Also, speaking about the driving position on this car, the C3 offers a high up and commanding driving position with a good view around the glass. The A-pillar size are decent and will not block much view. However, you sit high up and have a good view around, and also you can find a decent driving position because of a height adjustable seat and a tilt enabled steering. However, we could have wished if Citroen could have had it the telescopic adjust as well. Now, speaking about the steering, the Citroen C3 offers a well-balanced steering wheel. At low speeds, it is definitely light and you can maneuver the car around the city very well. However, if you're going on triple the speeds on highways, it will weigh up decently and also will give you the confidence that you need to achieve those speeds. However, I will have to nitpick a little bit on the steering, because when you're traveling at straight lines, you will have to give a little more input than what is required on other cars to keep the car going straight. There is a little play that we faced when we were driving the C3 at triple digit speeds on straight lines. Now, moving on to the safety department, the Citroen C3 comes with standard set of equipment that is mandated by the government, which is dual airbags at the front, ABS with EBD, and you get door sensing locks, and also you get ISOFIX child mounts. However, on the top end model, we could have expected a 4 airbag setup, but that is still to be seen if in future Citroen could add that to the C3. Finally, if you are planning to buy the new Citroen C3, you'll have a question about its service and warranty. Now speaking about the warranty, it gets a standard package of 2 years or 40,000 kilometers. However, we can expect Citroen to offer an extended warranty package while the customer is buying this car. Now moving on to the service, as you already know, Citroen is a pretty new brand in India and they currently have around 10 service centers. However, at the time of the launch of this car, Citroen has promised that they will be increasing the service network by 2x. That is around 20 outlets across the country. However, Citroen's pièce de résistance is their service on wheels. Citroen will go to the customer's location and service their car. However, the customer won't be charged for the traveling distance that have been done by the service unit. They will be only charged for the labor cost and also only for the spare cost. Now this model has worked well in terms of Citroen C5 aircraft, as the number of units sold in India is pretty less. However, this Citroen C3 is going to be a mass market segment and we are expecting it to sell in good amount of numbers. Will that promise of service on wheels stay the same after a few months? That we will have to check it out in due course. So to sum it up, Citroen C3 offers a most bang for the buck with their two 1.2 liter engines. If you want some more fun, you can always choose the turbo petrol engine. However, the NA unit delivers whatever is put on the paper and you can have a lot of fun in it as well. So that was our take on the all-new Citroen C3. According to us, this particular car has been well engineered and comes with two potent engine options along with manual gearbox options. However, we would have liked to see an automatic gearbox in this day and age. Along with the missing automatic gearbox, Citroen has also managed to cut corners at certain bits, which will allow them to price this product very aggressively against its competition, that's the Tata Punch and the Maruti Suzuki Ignis. What did you think about this particular car after watching our review? Mention them in the comments below, and if you have any other questions, do mention them as well and we will be sure to answer them for you. Also, please like and share this video and subscribe to DriveSpark if you haven't done it already. This is Bharadwaj signing off. Stay safe and drive safe.